reading a book by John Stott, who's a great UK minister who died a couple of years ago, sadly, but really helped to keep the UK in many ways on track, kept them into the Bible at a time when the church was going very liberal. And he did it by focusing hearts and minds back into the Word and back onto the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, which was being ignored. And so he wrote a book called The Cross of Christ. And it's a great book. And in there, he has this quote where he says, "Only the person who's willing to own their share in the guilt of the cross can have any claim to its grace." Only the person who's willing to say, I put Jesus, my sin, put Jesus on the cross like that, can then claim the grace that flows from his blood. So, I read those words and realised that I read a lot of the New Testament thinking to myself, if only I had have been there, like one of the disciples, I could have kind of tapped the disciples on the shoulder and said, I think we've misunderstood Jesus at this point. I think he's going to die for our sin, whatever it might be. Or don't worry, he's going to rise again, whatever it might be. The disciples look like a joke a lot of the time, really, when you read. They just can't get it, But if I had been there, that would have been me as well. And I think that's what I needed to work out. So, anyway, this is the song that came out of that period. Here we go.
He's prepared. It's good.
I'd like to think if I was there in the garden as you prayed and cried, I could have stayed awake for you, so you were not alone at that time. But in truth I can see that although I stand here now, a part of me was there in the garden, asleep on the ground. When you needed companions, there was no one around. And I'm sorry I left you when you needed a friend. And but for the grace of God, I'd fall asleep again. I'd like to think if I was there, as the crowd demanded crucify, I could have been a louder voice, calling out to them, why is his crying? But in truth I can see that although I stand here now, a part of me was there in the rabble when your crime was declared. And I cried out for your blood that Barabbas be spared. And I'm sorry I left you to the mocking and scorn. And but for the grace of God, I hear my angry voice alone. Were you there when they crucified the Lord? Were you there when they crucified the Lord? Were you there when they crucified the Lord? I'd like to think if I was there, watching as you took your final breath, I would have known you'd rise again. I have remembered all the words you'd said, but in truth I can see, although I stand here now. Part of me was scared and embarrassed as I watched you die. I believed you were king, but you did not even fight. And I'm sorry I forgot all you said and done. And but for the grace of God, I turned away and run. I turned away and run. 'Cause I was there when they crucified my Lord. 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 Heavenly Father, we just pray.